Yeah! Listen, people, I get it. Eli Tomac is amazing and awesome and incredible and superb and spectacular and fast and strong and great and consistent. All of those things. And more importantly, we're actually seeing those things and realizing those things and embracing those things. Because this is Eli Tomac 2.0. Eli Tomac could have gone the route of many great champions of the past and either retired on top or when he first saw a downside or a decline possibly coming, he could have given up. Instead, he chose a bike and team switch. And look, hindsight's 2020. It looks awesome now, but many riders, when they were approaching the decline, switched teams hoping it would provide a boost, and it did not provide a boost. So we didn't know necessarily this was coming. I don't think anyone at the end of Supercross in 2021 was thinking 2 years from now, Eli Tomac will be way better than he even was when he won the title in 2020. But he is. He's the most complete package. He still has all the speed and all the strength he always had, but we're not seeing really any chance of the old weirdo Eli races. And even his starts are better. It's incredible. And the fans know it and embrace it because, again, with that 2.0 thing, he's living legend status. Instead of, we didn't know what we had until it was gone, we actually know because he could have been gone and he's not. He's right here and he's better than ever. And everyone is saying, I got to see Tomac in his peak, in his prime, in person. I'm going to live in that moment. I started noticing it at Daytona last year. Now, I've been the announcer of the Daytona Supercross for a long, long time. And Eli's won that race many, many times. And the fans always do embrace him there. Everybody loves the beast mode charge. But there was something different last year. About halfway through the Supercross campaign, it was really starting to stick that, hey, Tomac could have been retired. Hey, I probably should have respected him even more when he was winning earlier. But now that he's back, I need to take advantage of this. And ever since then, he's been riding that wave, and the fans just keep getting louder and louder. Well, except in Denver. They would always go nuts for him whenever there was a race at Supercross there. But now it feels like every race is Denver. I did a video last week about how loud the crowd was in Anaheim. I had some factors. The riders have been around longer. They're better at branding themselves. Or maybe it's just all the electricity of Eli Tomac. Same thing in San Diego. His every move, every pass, everything he did, the fans went absolutely nuts for. These buildings are electric for Tomac. And Tomac's electric starter is powered by this. An anti-gravity battery, this 401, super lightweight, like baseball level weight. If I could throw a perfect spiral with something shaped like this, I could probably play catch with this battery. Not recommended. Don't try that at home. But that's how light this battery is. And that's what Tomac uses in his Monster Energy Star Yamaha. If he were to make a mistake, his bike would start quickly and reliably with this battery. Go to antigravitybatteries.com to learn more and get one for your bike. Take weight off your machine by just putting in a different battery. So Tomac and the fans, why am I talking about this so incessantly? Well, the Tomac love affair with the fans made it very difficult on journalists like myself because we essentially have to, every written report, every video, every podcast, go out of our way to say over and over that Tomac is amazing and spectacular and dominant and awesome and consistent and strong and fast and spectacular. And if we don't repeat that over and over, it looks like we're not reporting on the events that happened accurately. You just can't say enough to satisfy the Tomac fans who love him so much right now. But at the same time, as journalists, it's our job to report on other riders as well. And there are other riders in these races. And although some are making mistakes, that doesn't necessarily mean they were going to beat Tomac anyway, but we have to say they made mistakes. There is one rider who has stepped up the game, and it's worth talking about as well, Cooper Webb. And now that I bring up Cooper Webb after Tomac, riding better than ever, has won the first two races, it's very tempting to say, why would you bring up Cooper Webb? The whole story is that Eli Tomac is dominating. Well, I'll show you why. We're going to dig inside the data and show why this is such a phenomenal battle if we can get these two riders to have great seasons at the same time. Because you could argue they split the last 4 titles, 2 good years for Webb, 2 off years for Tomac, and vice versa. Can we get them in their prime, at their peak at the same time? We just might. And the San Diego Supercross kind of showed us signs of that because the two strengths of both riders were pitted up against each other. Now we know the strength of Eli Tomac is just brutal, raw speed. And he had it. Let's go into the lap times here from San Diego. When he got around Cooper Webb, when he took the lead, lap 5, Tomac runs a 49.127 lap time. 49.127. That's the fastest lap of the race. On that same lap, Webb went 50.4. 1.3 seconds off. The next time around, 50.5 for Webb, a 49.6 for Tomac. In those 2 laps right there, Tomac put 2 seconds on Webb in 2 laps, laps 5 and 6. Just brutal speed. And thank you to Clinton Fowler at 3 laps down for helping comb through some of this data. I looked at it myself, and it showed what we all know. Peak speed, top speed, Cooper Webb would be hard-pressed to match or exceed Eli Tomac. Probably ever. But we also know this. Webb has never won races or championships by being the fastest rider for any one lap. It's the late race heroics. And the San Diego race was kind of vintage Webb. Get a good start. Get up front early. Ride out the string. Stay in the hunt. Survive the storm of the other riders going faster than you. And then the last half of the race, when the track starts to break down and the lines go away, outsmart them. Find better lines than them. And then when they're vulnerable, that's when you attack. We have seen Webb use it countless times, especially on Ken Roczen, who was probably faster than Webb on most occasions, but Webb could wear him down late, and he tried to do that on Tomac. Let's look at the last 5 laps of this race. Every single one of them, Webb was faster than Tomac. Now, it's an extreme case this time around because Tomac was dealing with lap traffic, but he also had a lap where he made a huge mistake, and that allowed Webb to get even closer. And then Webb himself said that the lines were coming together for him better at the end of the race than the beginning.
Yeah, I felt like he had some really good spots there at the beginning. One of them being like that triple all the way to the dragon, the whoops to the finish. And I felt like I was really good on the tight stuff, but I felt like early he was just kind of opening everything up and really railing stuff nice. And so once I kind of latched onto that, it seemed to help a lot. And then as it got rougher, the tight lines that I was doing seemed to get better. So, he's just on it at the beginning.
The outside lines and the opening up the track lines that Tomac was using early was better than the tight lines that Webb was trying to stick to. But as the race went on, those tight inside lines, which are always Webb's specialty late in the race, cutting out of the rough stuff, started to come into play. We saw strength against strength. And in the end, even though Tomac's best lap was more than 1 second better, the average lap time between the two of them was only 0.1 seconds different. And the final margin of victory from Tomac at the end was 1.1 seconds. Now, I understand that Tomac is amazing right now, and there's probably a hint of managing the last lap just to make sure he led by enough to win. And the lap traffic was a factor as well. But what we are seeing is Webb using the strategies that allowed him to win 2 Supercross titles. And Tomac using the strategy that allowed him to win 2 Supercross titles. Head-to-head, at their peak, in their prime, at the same year. It is absolutely a celebration of how great Eli Tomac is in this sport right now. But is that not also a strength for Cooper Webb? Would he not love to be the guy that spoils that party? Would he not love to be the one who is able to overcome this monster that Eli Tomac has become, perhaps stronger than ever? Keep an eye on that. Tomac's brute speed against those late racecraft heroics of Webb. Strength versus strength, 2 different ways to do it. It could be fun to watch all year long. I'm not saying that Tomac isn't the man right now. There's no doubt about it. But we might be in for more exciting racing than it even seems.